What did you learn in the last session? Can you please confirm? Okay, let me do a recap what we have done in the last session. In the last session, I have explained about the REST API. What is the importance of REST API? And we have discussed this small use case. What is consumer application? What is producer? How this information will be interchanged between a consumer and producer applications. Okay. And we have created with JSON server. REST API we created with JSON server without any server-side technologies. And we have set up how to just create that. And we have created a new app, app 3. And we have installed JSON server. And we created this new file, db.json file. And we started the server, JSON server, --watch. And with some sample data. With the sample data we just created. And then the backend RESTful fake API will be created with this URL. And the backend is ready. Then after that, we have just integrated Angular, how to just consume that RESTful API in Angular project. And we have discussed about this HTTP client service. The HTTP client service, we can able to send the server-side calls, get request, post request, delete request, put. And we have discussed how to handle the get request, getting the data from the server, especially the student's information, which we have created that we are able to fetch and we are able to display the data. And for that requirement, we have created a student class, a student service, and a student list component. Let me run the service. I find 4. Okay, we have created this, and it won't run until we just run the server. Because to run this, first we require to run the JSON server. For that requirement, we need to run this command. This command. Before starting that, we need to run this. We need to run this command, JSON server. This command we need to run inside the terminal. We need to have this one terminal and you can run it. Within app 3 only we are done. Okay, then only the API is available. Then we can able to check this. Now reload it. Now send the request. Now check the data, whether data is getting or not. Otherwise, check in the console what is wrong with that. Failed error connection refused. So here we have created the service. Okay, ID we have changed it actually. Localhost 3000. Now run it. Yeah, we got it. Okay, for this we have done in the last session. We have created these files, student, student class with these properties, and student service class we have created. This is a base path, base URL. This is the backend URL that we are running. And we are injecting this HTTP client service. And we implement one method, get all storage method. And we are calling this HTTP client service dot get method. This get method to process the get request. And we are passing the base URL. The base path URL is passing. And the return type of this one is observable type. Observable. So that's why we are returning the observable of the student array. And we are providing the generic type of student array. And then in the student list component, we are calling that service, student service. And we implemented one more method like get all student method. So here we are calling that student get all students method, and we're subscribing the data, and data is available here. Then we are calling this method gets all students method. We are calling on ng on init lifecycle hook method. Now this will method automatically executed, and this will be called, and we'll get the data, and the data we are assigning to this students variable. So finally, we are just using that students information. We are iterating one by one student details, and we're finally getting the okay. Now this is the thing we have done in the last session. Is everybody clear? Hope everybody clear up to here. Please confirm. This is the thing we have done in the last session. Okay. Now I'm doing some changes in the project. Now, especially now I want to show you something. Let me show you. Now we have done in the I want to show you some errors. See, let me show you in the app module. The app module I have added this HTTP client service. So let me show you. If you don't add this HTTP client module, I'm not adding. Okay, let me remove that. I'll just remove that HTTP client module. So let me show you. We're able to get the data or not. I want to show. So student list. Now on console, I got error. On console, I got error when I just now it is saying something like circular dependency detected for the student service. App module, something error. Circular dependency detected. Okay. So when I add this HTTP client module, now then let me, now I'm not getting the error. Okay. Okay. Earlier we used to have this HTTP client module. You want to use the HTTP client service. Now this is a service. HTTP client service. If you want to access this, then we must have this module should be added. Inside the app module, you must add this HTTP client module. But see here, when I just mouse over, you will getting that I just tried HTTP client module is deprecated. Okay. So what I'm doing, I'm going to show you. Let me see here, observe here. It is giving some options. Configure the dependency injector HTTP client with supporting some service automatically imported by HTTP client module. And you can add the interceptors to change the HTTP client. Okay, it is giving some. So what I'm doing something. This is deprecated, right? Now I got this error. Then I'm just opening in the browser. So let me show you the error from the stack code. HTTP client module is deprecated in Angular 18. So what is the replacement? Okay, now observe. So HTTP client module was superseded by already existing provide HTTP client. By existing already provide HTTP client provider function. Okay, this is the function. This is the function you need to add. Okay, which is actually then no need to use this HTTP client module. Okay, this is the HTTP client function. We need to keep it inside the providers. Okay, from see here, it is actually deprecated in Angular 18. Okay, now here is Angular 20. So Angular is to use this module, but currently we don't require. So what is the alternative for that? Just we need to have this HTTP client method. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, see here, I'm going to inside this providers. Already you find this service. Just put a comma. Now add this HTTP provider and don't require this. Remove this. Remove this import and import this imports. Now this is actually available from this Angular /common/HTTP package. From this package, you have to import this provide HTTP client. Provide HTTP client should be added. Okay, remember this. So I'm just updating this one. Now let me show you. Now I don't get an error. Still it is working. Okay, this is actually new update. Okay, earlier we used to use HTTP module, but the current version from Angular 19, we don't require that. That approach is deprecated. Instead, we need to have this provide HTTP client method. This is now this configure Angular's HTTP client service to be available for injection. Okay, automatically fine. Okay, there's a new change I have done in the process. Okay, clear everybody? Are you getting me? Are you getting? Yes. Are you with me? Can I have your response? Are you with me? Okay. Okay. Good. Now, anyway, I have updated the document which I'll share with you with that. Okay. Now, this is what we have done. This is functional we have done. Okay. This is actually I have just updated. And the next thing. Okay. Make sure that you have run the JSON server before just running the Angular. Okay. Next. Now handle the errors in this HTTP. Okay. Now I have shown in the last session we have some errors. If you have some invalid service endpoints, okay, then that will lead to error. Now let me show you. Suppose see here, if I just use students, so instead of students, this endpoint, now I'll call students. So now this will lead to the error. Can you see that? We're getting 404 not found. Okay, I'm not able to get the information. Now, if you open the console, you can see that error. So how to handle the errors here? Okay, how to handle the errors that I'm going to implement here. Now, let's see. Now, this is the one problem. This, look at here. If some error happened, then your RESTful call will get failed. This is one error. Now, let's say I'll just change the server also. Server I'm just running with 4,000. But 4,000 will get the error connection refused. Because server is not running on 4,000 port number. The backend service running in that is running in 3,000. Okay, 3,000 that is running. But I'm sending the request. I'm sending a request for the 4,000. Now that will lead to connection refused. Backend is not running on. Okay. So that's why we got this error. Okay, connection refused. Okay, these are the very common errors which you come across. So how to handle these errors now? Okay. So we need to implement this error handling here. Okay, now I'm going to implement one simple error handling mechanism here. Okay, now let me, okay, this is a service, this is a service. I'm going to update with error handling. Okay, so now I'm going to implement one method. I'll take it as one private method, which I want to access only here. Handle error. Okay, I'll take this type as HTTP error response type. Okay, now here I'm going to just handle some errors. Okay, let's say we can have this is a one built-in object error, that is one built-in object HTTP error response. So on this I'm calling if we have some properties out there. We have error property, headers, message, name, okay, status, text. These are the different properties of that. Okay, I'm calling the error property. If error is, I'll get some instance. Okay, if error is related to instance of HTTP or error, instance of error event type. Okay, error event is actual interface represent the events providing information related to the errors in the script. Okay, it is one built-in interface. Okay, error event. If it is, I'm just checking that if it is a if this error is instance of this error, then I want to handle some errors. Okay, let's say I want to handle some client side error. Client side errors or network error you can handle. So I want to just print some, I want to just return some message. So I'll take one local variable error message. Okay, I just want to return that error message here. Error message. Okay, now I'll just add some errors. Now I'm using string interpolation. Okay, client side error. Client. Okay, there is a client side error happen. Client error. Okay, then what is the error happened here? I want to just take it here. Okay, error dot error property message. Okay, error is this is the problem. This is actually error response. Okay, so on that we are calling the error property. If you want, you can take the directly. You can take HTTP error response. You can take like this. You don't get confused. This is actually a property. So on that, we are calling that error. Then on that, we are calling the error dot message. Okay, we can get. Now I want to just message, I want to get it from them. Okay. Then else I want to just handle some server side errors. Server side error. Okay, if there is some server side error, I want to just have some message I want to return back. Server error. Okay, server side error. Then the server error, I can want to get what is that error exactly. I want to just get it. You can get the status code from that. Now let me get dot status. I'm getting the status along with what is exactly message. Okay, HTTP response dot message. Okay, I just want to have the message of that. Okay, simple. We just clear it. Okay, and then return it. Okay, then return that. So for return, I want to just throw an error function I'm calling from RJS. We can have one callback and just and we are creating one error object. And this error message, I want to just throw it. Okay, return it because the here I want to return that object. Simple. Okay, now this is one method. Now this method I want to call. This method I want to call when we call this request. Okay, now for that requirement here, see what I'm bringing. So on this object, now this is actually return the observable. On the observable, we can have pipe from RJS. This is a method, built-in method. Now on that, I'm trying to call catch error. So I'm just providing this method, this dot handler. Okay, this method I'm trying to just call it. And just call this method. No need to just directly. Just specify this method name. So when we call get all students method in this service, I want to just catch the errors. Now this is I want to just this is a method I'm calling here, handler. Okay, now let's see what happened. Let's see what happened. But I need to when you call this one, okay, this should be called. But how to handle this? How to handle this error? How this error could be handled in the this error should be handled inside the list component. Inside list component, we have to handle. Okay, we're subscribing it, but we need to handle this error. Okay, we need to handle this error. Okay, now let's see. See here, we're just subscribing the data, but I want to handle error. I want to handle error here. So we can call on this one, this error, and we can have error. We can have here, this is one. Okay, I'm calling error. So when I call this error, call back here, now I'll get error, something like this. Okay, this is an old approach which you're trying to get it if you don't want to find error. So this is how we can do it. But instead of here, we need to give this one, see, is the duplicate approach is showing here. So I'm going to just show you one different approach now. So I want to just catch the error here. So here we're just having this. Let me do one thing. Now this is actually subscribe. So on subscribe, we need to give the one object. On subscribe, we need to have one object. Where it is closing. This is just, yeah. So I'm creating one object. Let's have next method. Now this is one callback. I'm just providing, let's say, data. So assign this data to this variable, this dot students, and this is data. Next, I want to handle the error. This by error property. You can have error property, and let me just, I want to give some alert on this error object. We can call some message property to get it. Okay, now see what happens. This is how we can able to handle the error. Then we send the request. This dot service dot get all students, and we are now if there is an error, now we are handling it and we are just printing that message error message I'm trying to print. So now let's see what happened. So let's see. This is a now I just change this server port number 4000. Now see what happened. Can you see that? See when I just list here. Now server error, we got it. Server error and HTTP failure response. Failure response and unknown error. Saying unknown error. But what actually it is related to error. This is related to error connection refused. Connection refused because the ID which is just provided that port number is not running actually. Okay, it's running different. So let me change this to the 3000. So after that, I'm trying to change this to the students. Now see the error. Localhost 426 server error 404 HTTP file response from this URL and 404 not 4. The message reported 404. The URL is not there. Okay, we got the error. Okay, if there is an error or something like this, then we can able to just print the appropriate message to the users. This is something is not. We can debug like this. Simple. Okay. Now this is actually the one way we can able to just implement this. Now this is the one private method we have implemented, and we just calling that method. This method I'm calling for this get all students method. But what if you want to handle one more method, let's say add students. Okay, add students, then we need to have this one. We need to add. But let's say we may have some multiple services available. Okay, it's a student service. Just like that, we have okay, we have some other customer service or employee service. We may have multiple services in the project. But each and every service adding this error handling code, which is okay, quite complex, and it will just increase the boilerplate code. Okay, and we have another approach which you can able to just move this as a global error handling by using one concept called interceptors we need to apply. But this is one way. If you have only one service in the project, just go with this simple way. Okay, it will work for you. Yes, everybody is clear? Are you with me? Are you with me? Please confirm. Are you getting how to handle error? What I have done in this project, I will explain once again. So I'm just handling the errors. I'm just handling the error for this RESTful call. For that requirement, with this the method I have implemented. Handle error method. Now I'm passing this HTTP error response. This is one built-in object which will give the error response. And now we are just checking that this is actually there is one built-in property error. Now, if this error instance of error event type, which is actually one interface which represent all the information about the errors. So I'm just checking that. Then if it is error event type, I'm just specifying the client side error. I just want to just get that error message. And if this something is other than this, I want to just consider this one as a server side. Then I'm getting the status code, because if there is some HTTP error, we'll get some status and we'll get some response. Okay, if you observe here, we got this status when you have some invalid request. So observe here, server error. So this is actually got error, server error, and this is actually status code. Status code is 404, 404, and message is there's a complete message stack we are getting. HTTP failure response for this URL, complete message we got it for that. Okay, and this object we are just now we are just assigning to this error message, and we are throwing that error message by using one throw error method by passing one callback function. We'll take one callback function. We're just passing this. And then in the student list component, we are handling that. This is for the getting the data. If there is an error in the call, we have this error callback to handle errors. Okay. Now this will get executed. If it's complete executed, we get the data. If there is some error while processing that request, now this error callback will be executed. And we got that error message from that error.message property, this error object, and we got that message property, and we are just alert message we are printing. Okay, that message which you are getting from that here, this error message we are printing here in the alert message. Okay, this is the one way. If you have only one service, we can do like this type of requirement. But if there are multiple services are there, then it's not possible. It's not possible to just add everything for every method, for every service. Adding this method is it will take the increase the length of the code. Okay, that's why we need to have some global error handling we need to provide. Okay, so for global error handling, we can create one simple service. We need to have some interceptors. Okay, we have a concept called interceptors. So interceptor itself, it just intercept the every request. It just stop and check whether whatever your logic, whether you can use the logging or error handling, you can able to use the intercept. Now let me heal here. Angular intercepts. Okay, see here. Interceptors. So with the help of interceptors, see here, let me. So interceptors are generally functions which you can run for each request and have broad capabilities to affect the contents and the overall flow of the request and response. Okay, and you can install multiple interceptors which form interceptor chain where each interceptor processes a request or response before forwarding it to the next interceptor. Okay, now we can generally use these interceptors. We have different use cases. One is adding authentication, retrying the file request, caching response, customizing the parsing of responses, okay, collecting and batch request, okay, automatically filing requests, okay, even error handling. Okay, we can all use these simple things. And this is actually the function. This is actually the function we need to implement using intercept. Like this. This is one function. We can take some function, log the interceptor, and it will take the two parameters. One is request, that is HTTP request type, and the next, this is one callback function. That return type is observable of HTTP event type. And this will call the next method. This is the next, okay, handler method that will send the here. Now, this is how we can able to just implement these interceptors. So with these interceptors, we can able to apply for the global error handling. Okay, that could be possible. So now I am going to create one interceptor for handling global errors. Okay. Now, instead of keeping this, instead of this particular service for handling this, I want to globally, I want to handle the errors. Okay. Now let's do that. For that requirement, I'll just, you can remove it or you can, I want to comment this. Okay. I'm just commenting this method and even I don't want this. Okay. Let me keep this. I'm just commenting this. Okay. Okay, this is for the error. With error handling, we're just providing here. So without error handling, I'm just having this. Okay, this is without error. Okay. Now I'm going to have one interceptor for the error handling I'm going to create. So for that requirement, I'm going to generate one interceptor. Let me open new terminal. So I'm creating one interceptor, ng generate interceptor, just like a component service. We can have interceptor, and I want to keep it in the separate folder like interceptors, and I'll take this as error. Okay, this is error interceptor. I'm going to take it. Okay, and let me generate this. Okay, now I got interceptor folder, and you can find this interceptor is got created. Sorry. Okay. This is a now this is the one callback, just one function, anonymous function just created. Error interceptor, which is of HTTP interceptor function type. And taking this two parameter request. So request is HTTP request type, and next that is HTTP handler function type. Okay. So here we need to implement this function. Okay. Now we are calling this is the next function. Now I'm calling. Let me just implement this. So this is actually observable. We can call a pipe. So now I'm going to specify, I'm going to have one callback function here. Let's say catch error. So I'm just passing error. Just what we have done, HTTP error response. Type HTTP error response. Okay, HTTP error response. This is actually type I'm just providing. And okay, which is of type is okay. Declared but never declared. Now, so here I want to have the same. We can have that error message. Here what we have done, I want to take that same. You can take the same code which we have done in the service. Okay, this is the same code. Okay, this is same. Okay, now I'll just keep it here. And HTTP error response. Okay, and import this from origins. Okay, see here whatever we have written here in this method. Okay, the same code which we are just handling, just we are keeping here. Okay, this is how the method should be implemented. And this is one first step. Now this is a global error handling. This is the first intercept I created. Then after that, okay, we need to register this. We need to register this interceptor in the project. Then only it will work. Otherwise, it won't work. So where we need to register it, it should be registered inside the app module. This is the app module. For this provide HTTP client. We have this provide HTTP client, right? With the help of that, we have to just add this. Okay. So here in this provide HTTP client, I'm calling one method. What is one more method with HTTP with interceptors. Okay, with interceptor function. So here we have to take an array. Interceptors we can pass it. Okay. See here, it is taking the interceptors function array type. Okay, we need to pass the interceptors array. What are the interceptors you want to handle here? We have to just give that list. Okay, so here we have only one interceptor now. I will just specify that. What is the interceptor name? Error interceptor. This error. Can you see that? Error interceptor, that name. I'm just configuring here. Okay, this is the second step. First step is we need to create the interceptor. And this we have to register this interceptor inside the app module. Provide HTTP client. So within that, with interceptors function. So we are passing the array of interceptor as an, because we have to pass the array type, HTTP interceptor function array. Okay, that's why I'm just keeping that within square brackets. Okay. You can pass like this, otherwise you can create a separate variable and you can create. That's up to you. Otherwise, you can do like this. You can create a one array type like this. Interceptor function you can create. That's up to you. You can create something like this. And you have to import this. And you can just pass this. Okay, this function you need to import. This is can you see that? Intercept function. From this one you have to import. Previous HTTP. If you're not getting, you need to import this. Where is this? Done here. Interceptor function. Okay, like this we have to just create. And finally, you need to pass this interceptor function. Okay, you can create a list of interceptors here. The list of interceptors you can able to create. And we need to give that with this. We can just specify that. This is error interceptor. Okay. Otherwise, you can directly keep this. Just put this one directly in the here. It will work fine. Okay, clear? Are you getting? Now, then let me show you. Now, let me check here. Now, in this service class, now I'm not handling that. Okay, I just commented here. Now we have only this get our students. I'm just calling it directly. But the interceptor will work. Now, let me show you. So here in the student list, we are handling that. And let me show you this whether it is working or not. I will show. Now, what is the request we are giving here in the service? Okay, students, new page is not there. We have a student endpoint, but not students. So see here. Can you see that? See the endpoint here, error. Student server side error. The server error, we got it. The server error, we got it. Oh no. And let me change this 4,000. Now server error, HTTP failure. Okay, this is how we can able to specify. Global. So no need to, once we have these global interceptors, global errors are specified here, then no need of adding this error handling in the service. Okay, not required. No need to implement this method. Okay, no need to have this, which is not required. Okay, clear? Clear, everybody. Very, very important for interview purpose, here for development also. Yes, confirm everybody. Are you clear? How to handle the errors? Okay, that's it. Without error handling, which we can do it simply. Okay, next I want to discuss one more functionality. Anyway, you get this update in the document, you will get it. Now let's handle the post request. Okay, post request I want to handle. Handling the HTTP post request, sending the data to the server. And okay, like that, I want to take a form. I want to just accept the information. And I want to, when you click on the register, then I want to just update the test information. Okay. Now let's implement this component. For that requirement, we need to have, I'm creating one component. Ng generate component student create component. Okay. Student create component, I'm going to create. Student create component. Okay, student create component. I have created with that. Then I'll add the routing. I'll add the routing for that component, which I want to just use it. So let me take routing for that first. Where it is? Routing module. I'll put comma. Now student create. Student create. Component name is student create component. Okay, student create component. This is a student create component. Just put. And this is the routing name. Student create. Now then I'll just add this inside this endpoint. Anyway, search function I don't require to remove this. Okay, student list. So I'll take one more. This is for student create. I'll take it add student. Add student. Add student with this. Okay. And anyway, we just remove that. Where is this? Just let me update that file. Service. $3,000 student. Now, okay, now we have this student. It's now add student. So when you click on add student route, now we got that student create works. The component we are rendering. Just we add the routing for that. Now the corresponding component is we are rendering. Okay, it's working. I just add the routing. Okay. Then to process the post request, I need to add one method. Let's add one new method inside the service. I'm adding new method. Create student. Okay, now we need to pass one argument. Okay, let's pass one student argument. I have to pass it one parameter. And return type is observable type. And you can take particular type or you can take any, automatically take the generic version. And here, now we need to call this dot HTTP post request. Okay, post request we need to pass. So post request will take that URL, this dot base path. First argument is a base path. Second argument, we need to pass the student object. Now understand this signature. Post request, post method, URL. First argument is URL. Second one is body. That means the data which you want to send, that is called request body. The request body we need to send. Okay, the second argument is request body data. Okay, this is the post request. If you want to send something, some information from client to server, we can have the post request. Okay, to get something from the server, we can use get request. To post something to server, we can use post request. Okay, now this is a method I have just implemented. Okay, simple. Anyway, we'll just let it be this. I just added this new. So this method I'm going to call in the student create component. Okay. Now let me take this. Yes, everybody, are you with me? Are you following? I'm asking everybody, okay, but I'm getting response only from few. Okay, now here I'm going to let's inject the service. Service, student service. Okay, student service. Now I'm going to have one student object. Just I'm creating one student object to represent the student properties. Okay. Now I want to just create one method, create student. So I'm calling this dot service dot create student method. Now I'm passing this this dot student object subscribe. So on subscribe, if there is some error, then I want to handle it. Okay. The how we have handled the same way here. Here you can call next method. Okay, this is the next method. What do you want to do here? If everything is just process, what do you want to do? Then after that, error. Okay. Now let me just I want to take this. Okay. Anyway, here actually I don't require any data. Just I want to handle. Just I want to update that student property with the student. I'm just creating this object. Just I want to just update this. No student object I want to create. Because this is a post request. I'm posting something. You want to give some object. Just I'm creating the object here. And here you can create, or you can just I'm creating object, nothing happened. Then after that, once the student is created, I want to redirect. Okay, I want to redirect the request to student list component. Okay, for that requirement, I required one object route. One router object I required. router object. This is one service, router service, which we require. So on the router, we can have a redirection we can able to provide. This dot router dot navigate by URL. So I want to navigate to which component? Okay, which component I want to navigate? I want to navigate to this student list. Can you see that student list? This is student list. I want redirect to from here. After adding here, I want to redirect to this URL. So I just add that here. Redirect it to student list / student list column. This is redirection. I'll give comment. Redirecting to student list component. Okay, here afterwards we just have here we just redirecting to the student list column. Okay. Okay. Yes, everybody, are you with me? Are you getting this method? You want to print this data, you can print on console log. Just print the data if you want. The data. Now let me just go with template. Add new student details. Okay, I'm taking one form. And yes, everybody, are you with me? Please confirm. Okay, now whenever I submit this form, I want to just submit this event and your submit, create student. And this is a post request. Just you can have this post. This is a post request. Now let's have the, I want to take one input type. You can take the label if you want, you can take the label. I want to take this one, that. So I'm applying the two-way data binding and the model. The student property. Let's say I want to map with the student This is student name. Student name. And STD name. Okay, name. Okay, if you want, you can add the validations. Student. Let's say student P details. Course student P. Course fee. Course fees. Course. Course fee property. Fee. And okay, let it be this one. Name, student course name. Course. Now let me check how it will display. Now see, this is the NG model because when you use the two-way data binding, we need to just ensure the forms module should be added. Forms module should be added inside the app model, otherwise it won't work. Okay, let's have the forms module. Okay, make sure the forms module should be imported, otherwise you'll get error. Okay. Now I just imported. Yeah, we are displaying student name, course name, and all this. Okay, if you want to add some bootstrap styling, we can specify that. Form control class, we add, we'll get the proper. Anyway, we'll just add that if you want. This is the forms model should be ensured. It should be added, otherwise it won't work. Next thing, there is student course. Just we have added that. Only these properties. Student name, student course fee, and course name. Okay, all these properties. ID is ID. Okay, ID will be auto incremented. Okay, in that, no need to just manually to add it. ID will automatically do it. Okay, and next, let's have the one. Input type submit. Add new store. You can add some bootstrap class button. Primary. Okay, just added that. Okay, that's it. Now, then everything is fine. Let me. Anyway, I'm not adding the validation. That's up to you. You can add that validation. You want to discuss validations, you can add that. I'm mainly focusing on this functionality. Now, let me check once. Now, what are the students we have? These are the 4 students I have just added. Now, let me add one new student. New students, Raj, fees 30,000. Course name, Java full stack. And Raj, full stack, 30,000. And initial value we provide the 0. Okay, that is added, but it should be dynamically need to be added. Let me check once. Okay, it is added. I'll do some change here in the model class. Where is the model? We just initial value just provide 0. That's why it is taking that. I'll do one thing. Okay, this is not mandatory. So I'll just change this. Strict property installation, I'll just disable it. TS config. Strict property installation false. Okay, just make it as false. Then no need to mandate. Okay, then you can just. So when you add this strict property installation false, then no need to specify that default values. Okay. Now let me try with this once. It should be auto incremented. That's course fees 30,000. Java full stack. But some random number is crossing. Anyway, in the server side, generally we can just automate this, repeat this, but let it even we can get this one with value. But in JSON server, it should be auto incremented the ID. Let me add one more student. Check. Fees 25,000, host name and home Python. Paste one. Okay, some random number. Some random number is generated. Anyway, no problem. Let it be this whatever number it is. But that could be, we can use that number to just when we just get the details and when we just update the information. Okay, we'll use that details. Okay. Let it, no problem. Now this just I have updated this one, strict property installation false. Otherwise, if you don't add this property, now you'll find error here. You'll get this error property ID has no initializer and is not definitely assigned in the constructor. Okay, just avoid this by adding this strict property initialization false inside the tsconfig.json file. Okay, just add this. Okay, now see here, I'm able to just add the new student details. Now, successful, I'm able to add new student. Simple. Yes, everybody, are you clear? student list. Okay, in the next session, I'll just implement the delete and update functionality. We'll see in the next section how to get it done. Okay, do practice what we have done. I'll upload the document today in a recording. Just go through with that and try to complete this. Okay, hope it is clear, everybody. Okay, we'll catch you in the next session. Bye.